keep going. It says keep going. We're telling your followers to join your video. Haven't started yet. It's building an audience. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I don't like being late. Because one thing about Facebook Live, you can always go back and watch it at your earliest convenience. So I am Adrian Harrison, Writes On Consultant Agency. And tonight we are going to talk about how to get a job from a writing perspective. Yes, we know that a resume is involved, and we also know that you have to fill out an application. For most jobs now, they've gone to computerized systems where you are applying for jobs online, and you do want your grammar, you want your mechanics, you want your sentence structure to be as concise as possible as you can get it. But there's also something you need to do once you've submitted the application and you've received a phone call back, or even before you submit your application. You want to make sure that you are qualified for the job you are getting. I found a statistic that said only 35% of applicants are actually qualified for the jobs they apply to. And that was according to Inc.com. So that means half of the jobs we apply for, we don't actually qualify for. So tonight I want to give you a method on how you can determine whether or not you qualify for any job that you are trying to get, or any job that you are looking into applying for. You'll know beforehand, before you go through the process of applying for a job, especially if it's an online portal. I think it took me maybe, a good 45 minutes to an hour to upload all of the documents to online portal I recently used to apply for a job, to get that in, submitted just right. Cover letter had to go in, your resume had to go in, your personal references needed to go in, your education had to go in, and of course all of this information needed to be typed. It needed to be written in, typed into the system, and it did take about 45 minutes to an hour. So you can possibly save yourself some time if you know ahead of time if you're actually qualified for the position you are applying for. So recently I applied for a new job. For those of you who will see this and you don't know me, I am an educator. I've been teaching now. This is year 11 for me. And so usually when I apply for jobs, it's something in my field. I have a Bachelor of Arts in English with teacher certification. And so with that particular job, I'm able to teach 6th through 12th grade English language arts. I do have gifted endorsement, and I also have reading endorsement. And so that does limit the types or the kinds of jobs I can apply for. And so that does help me quickly determine whether or not I'm qualified for a position. Of course, if a email comes to my email at work and it says searching for a math position, I know I don't qualify for that. That's, pretty much common sense. But what if an ELA job comes up and it's a 4th grade position? I may just see the ELA portion, and then I have to keep scrolling to see, hey, this is for elementary grades. And then, I don't qualify for that. So with your teaching positions, they're a little bit more cut and dry. They give you the qualifications for it. You can go check your resume of whether or not you can apply for the job. And the same thing for most positions. But once you get into the description of the jobs, you'll be able to see if you qualify on a whole nother level. So that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. Do you qualify for the jobs that you are applying for based off of the description the company or the corporation is giving you? Do you actually qualify for the job? So what I did, I applied for a job back in December. I think I started looking for new positions and back in around October, November. Just not necessarily ready for a change, but I am and was ready at the time and still ready to go back to school. And so I wanted to find a position for me that would, the school or some kind of way, take away the me having to pay for the next degree. I am 34 years old. I am debt free, and I want to stay that way. And I was also given some advice by my apostle to go to school at the most debt-free way. And so I wanted to do that, so I began my job search on finding a position that would allow for me to go back to school at minimum cost to me, and I just began to do my research. My first initial mindset was to go back to school and get a job in, hi Janae, to go back and get a job in residence life. I did that while I was in college. I loved it, and I knew that came with the perks of being able to go to school on someone else's dime. So that was my first thought. I went through and I was looking at different schools, who needed a residence life coordinator. I knew the RA position wouldn't give me the desire to go back to school, so I didn't look in that area, but I did look in your higher up jobs in the residence life. So that was kind of the stream that I was looking into at the time. And I think I kept searching different college websites. I did apply to a couple of jobs, for residence life, didn't get a call back, and I promise y'all, like, one night I was like, go check this particular school. So I went, I checked Albany State's job portal, and I think it was like the 16th. It might have been the 18th. The application was due December 18th or the 16th, one of those dates. And I was like a day before or the day it was due when I came across this particular position. And so, I read the job description, and I just began, oh, I can do that. All they wanted was a bachelor's degree in English, which I do have. So that was a plus for me. That was a basic requirement, and they did want a master's degree, if they could find somebody with a master's degree. I don't have my master's degree yet, guys, but I'm working on it. So I thought that I could do this job, reading over the description, reading over the information they provided on the nature of the job and the experience they wanted people to have for the particular position. I was able to say, hey, I think I qualify for the job. And so I did. I put all my information in. I had applied for some things at Albany State before, so it was much easier for me to fill out the application this time because the information was already present in the system. I did have to go in and update a few things, but other than that, it was a much faster and quicker process on my end versus what it typically takes a person to fill out an online application. So I got a call back, I think in January, maybe like a month later. I had completely forgotten about the job, guys. It completely, slipped my mind. I thought I didn't get it because it was, just taking so long for it to get a call back. I wasn't even worried about it when I got the call back. So I got a call back from the university, from the department that is over the job, and I was offered an interview. So in preparation for the interview, one thing that I did, I went back and printed out the job application, the job description, rather. And once I went back and I looked at the job description, I decided to see how much I qualified for the job. Yes, Miss Mills, it's me. I am Miss Harris's baby. Hi. I did go back and I printed out the job description. And once I printed out the job description, I was able to write down exactly how I qualified for the position. And you guys, this really gave me confidence on going to this interview. And so that's my plug number one, my takeaway number one. Doing this process, doing this method is going to give you confidence that you really do qualify for the job you are seeking. Remember, the statistic I gave you is that only 35% of applicants are actually qualified for the jobs they apply to. So how do you know that you qualify? Just based off of what they give you. So what I did, I printed out the description. This is it. Kind of bad on the lighting. This is it. And I just began to write down how I qualified for the job. So I'm going to read it to you because I know you can't see it. It's kind of chicken scratchy probably to you, and it's backwards. So I'm going to read you the first one, then I'm going to tell you what I wrote so you can kind of get a feel for how I actually walk myself through this process. Also, if you would like a copy of this, just so you can see exactly what I did, you know, just put a comment, inbox me, send me a message, and I will get back with you. I will actually send you a scanned copy of this document just so you can see specifically what I wrote. And let me just throw this statistic in because I thought it was a powerful statistic. 33% of 2,000 people surveyed, 2,000 bosses actually, they said that they know within the first 90 seconds of an interview if they are going to hire a candidate. Only 38% of candidates were eliminated, or 38% of people who went in for actual job interviews were eliminated for quality of voice and overall confidence and a lack of a smile. So people go into interviews and they lack the confidence they need in order to get the job. This is going to help you have that confidence. You're going to be going in and you're going to be able to go in with confidence that you are the best candidate for the position that you are seeking. So the first thing, this particular job, the nature of the work that was posted online was that I was going to be a supervisor over a writing lab. Now, supervisor, I'm like, all right, I've been teaching 11 years. What supervising experience do I bring to the table? Well, I've been a team leader before at one school, two schools that I've worked with in my teaching career. You know, of course, I've been a club advisor, so that has some kind of supervising responsibilities that go with it. But this guy, when I went to the interview, he asked me specifically about my supervising skills. Had I ever been over people in terms of tutors, because I'll be over some tutors at this particular job, and they wanted to know, and he wanted to know, had I ever supervised other people where they were going to be reporting to me and filling out time sheets and that kind of thing. And I had to be honest with him and tell him no. But I wasn't shaken by him asking me that, because I was still able to tell him, yes, I've been a club advisor before. Yes, I've been a team leader before. But in context of what you are saying, no, I don't have that kind of supervising experience. It didn't count against me, guys. I did get the job, but I was still able to say I've supervised. I've been over people before. I've been a liaison before between, my boss and maybe the bigger company, maybe the school. I've been the yearbook advisor, so I had to be in contact with all the teachers on the team and at the school and the principal, and I also had to work with the students, who were working with me and making sure everything got done. So I do have some experiences kind of being a middleman, between two entities at a school or at a, not necessarily at a university, but in a school setting, and I was able to explain that to him. But I was only able to explain that to him without shaking in my boots, keeping a smile upon my face, because I had gone through this process. And again, guys, all you do is print this out. You write down how you fit, what you've done to actually fit the job description that has been given to you. So another thing it asks, you diagnose students' writing problems and design corrective instructional strategies. Well, guys, I had plenty of that. Hi, Angelica. I have plenty. I teach. So, of course, throughout the course of my career, I have diagnosed student writing and I have provided instructional strategies. Not only have I done that on my job, but I have done it through Right On Consulting Agency, where I've gone in and I've worked with different people in a consulting and tutoring capacity, and I've had to actually diagnose that student writing. I had a friend and she told me, she was like, Adrian, as you're working with these people, what you need to do is diagnose their writing and come up with strategies that is going to help them, that are going to help them do better as you're working with them. She noticed that I was kind of getting frustrated with some of my clients and some of my, people I was tutoring, and she was like, if you go ahead and diagnose these people, and then you'll be able to treat them, if you will, for their, their inconsistencies or the areas where they needed the most help. And so I was able to say, hey, I have done this. I have actually done this recently, and I have done this with college students because I walked through this job description and I marked it up. Y'all can see that. How do I fit? How do I qualify for the job? And so I was able to say, this is what I've done. I said I was currently, in my notes, I said I'm currently tutoring via my business. And via my business, I've been able to actually design and corrective instructional strategies. And I want to show you what that looked like, because I did create a portfolio. This is my portfolio that I took to the job interview. Now, my takeaway number 2 is don't chicken out on selling yourself. So takeaway number 1 was go in and see, do you actually qualify for the job? This is called textual annotation. And you just write your side notes, your thoughts, how do you fit, so on and so forth. And then my second takeaway is, hey guys, don't chicken out during the interview process. I actually chickened out. I had this in my bag. I usually take my portfolio that I got from Georgia Southwestern from being a GSW Models, and I had that out with an extra copy of my resume inside, and I had this in my bag. And so he never asked for it, so I got kind of scared about saying, hey, would you like this? Kind of deal. And so, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, go back, take it back if you can. And so I was like, okay, and I went back and I took this portfolio back to the school. Okay, Mrs. Mills, I can get you a copy of it. And so what I did, I was trying to show you guys my symptoms and diagnosis, because when I took this back, one thing I was able to share with one of the guys who wasn't actually in the interview is that, hey, this is a writing position, and you guys can't tell if I can actually write through an interview. You can tell I can speak well, you can tell I have poise, you can tell I have confidence, but you can't necessarily tell whether or not I can write based off just me talking to you. So this was like a good way for me to demonstrate my abilities as a writer, and then also a great way for me to show organizational skills, and I'll get to that in a minute, and also a way to demonstrate that I had experience in what the actual job description was asking me for. So here is a copy of my symptoms and diagnosis chart. This is what I use. And then you see I really did set it up like it was, I don't want to call it a sickness, guys, or illness, but the writing deficiencies, the writing inconsistencies that I was seeing with some clients that I've worked with in the past. And so the first column is symptoms. This column is the symptoms. What am I seeing? So one is can't seem to get started alone. This particular client, every time I showed up, they would have nothing. And, we on this time clock, and they would have nothing. But as soon as I sat down, voila, everything just flowed for that particular person. So it's like, how do you help this person get started before the day of tutoring? And so some manifestations of this particular, I don't even know what to call it, because I don't want to sound like it's a sickness. Y'all help me out, because it's not a sickness. It's not a disease that you don't write as well as you want to. It's a problem you need to come up in, basically. So anyway, the manifestation for this one is, okay, you don't have any work done prior to us starting. That's how I know you have this particular problem. You don't have anything written down. All you still have is what the professor told you to write, what the professor told you to do, and you don't have any actually work. What do you think about, I love electronic portfolios. I had to do one in college. And then, yes, a person can take their tablet or laptop, or you can even, if you can get it online where you can send an email. I think that's how ours was set up. At school, when I graduated from Southwestern in the teaching ed department, where I could actually send in electronically, and I had a link. So, yes, I love the idea of electronic portfolio. Guys, I put this together the night before my interview, because I believe that's around the time it came to me. I think Sadina and I were talking about the whole process. In some kind of way in our conversation, I believe, it's like, go put your work together. Go ahead and, put some writing together, put your stuff together so that you can take it with you. So that's why this one isn't electronic. And what was good for me about it not being electronic, it really made me want to put my hand to my own writing in the upcoming year. So I'm going to do, I've been on this research kick since like October, so I'm going to finish out the rest of 2017 with my researching, and I'm really going to pull all of my different kinds of writing, the things I've written in the past, the things I'm still currently working on. I think I'm going to get into some research analytical papers just to kind of put the research into words the next couple of months. And so I want to be able to go back and start on that. So this helped me, like, beyond the job, get some ideas for my personal life and some personal goals that I have. And so this is still, so going back to my chart, manifestations, you don't have any work done prior to the session. That's the manifestation. So the diagnosis, incomprehensible. You don't understand what the topic is about. And so you can't get started if you don't know what the actual topic is about. And so the method that I designed is called the Harris Annotation Method. And again, annotation is just this, where you go through and make your markings on the side about whether or not you have an understanding. Are you getting an understanding? And just recently I designed something else that can go with that, where it's called a basic expectations for writing before you start. And it just makes you answer some questions. What is the purpose of the assignment? When is the assignment due? You know, sometimes as people, we procrastinate and we're up the night before putting together a whole portfolio so you can go to a job interview and look good when you could have done it 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. So, you know, just some basic requirements. Doesn't need to be MLA. Are you using Turabian style? Are you using APA format? It makes the person who comes to get assistance with writing go through this process and say, hey, this is what is expected of me, so that they are prepared when they're getting some assistance. So I was able to demonstrate the qualifications I had of diagnosing student writing problems, and then my corrective instructional strategies. That's like at the top of their expectations in terms of this particular job. So another thing they wanted to know is, do you use computers technology to create tutorials, support websites, wikis, etc.? So I've been making videos, so please go back on my Right On Consulting Agency page and check out some of my videos, because I have been using computers to make tutorial videos. And you guys, this gave me a heads up just in the sense of they have a whole lab of Mac computers, is what the guy told me, which is the software that I currently use. So that was like a big plus for me. But I knew that I had the experience because of this. I could say, yes, I have made some tutorials. Yes, I have used a computer to support websites. I actually have a YouTube page you guys may want to check out. It's Adrian Harris Method on YouTube, where you can find all of the videos I've created so far. The one that has gotten the most hits is my commas in a series. That video has reached over 1,000 views, so yay about that. But that lets me know that's a common problem people search out. And so I was able to tell the guy, hey, yes, I use computers to do A, B, C, D, and I could tell he was impressed. I don't know if you guys have ever sat in a meeting and you know you're impressing the person. I could tell I impressed this guy, you know, just by having gone forth and doing those things. And I also was able to put it in my portfolio. I just printed out the different pages. I Snapchatted them. No, that's not what you call it. I didn't Snapchat. I screenshotted the videos, and I just put them all on one page so that he could see that I wasn't lying. And y'all, this portfolio proved me to be a truthful person, one, and it also helped me to be organized. So that's my takeaway number 3. Be honest. Takeaway number 1, make sure you know you qualify for the position. Takeaway number 2, don't be afraid. And then takeaway number 3, go in and be honest. You don't want to lie about what you can do and get on the job and you actually can't do it, because then it's going to eventually show up. So this portfolio actually helped me have proof that I am who I say I am. The things you guys are saying I need to have, I do have them. And then when he called my references, what they said lines up with this portfolio. I think they just really spoke highly of my organizational skills and my wanting and going over and beyond and those kinds of things. And he was able to say, well, yeah, I could tell that because she showed me her portfolio. So this really came in handy. I really do thank God that he put it on my heart to get this done, because I stayed up late, y'all, working on this, but it was so worth it for the sake of the job and also for the sake of my personal growth as a writer and my personal edification. You know, it just really did give me the confidence to go into the interview knowing that I knew I qualified for the job. Again, I'm going to give you that statistic one more time. Only 38% of applicants are actually qualified for the jobs they apply to. Y'all, that's a low number. That's not even 50%. That's not even 50%. So this method helps you see if you're qualified. One, before you actually start the application process, or before you go into an interview. Because I did get the interview, and this process helped me feel more confident, you know, going into the interview before I talked to the panel. And it was only one guy, but that was still so nerve-wracking. I was still shaking in my boots just sitting there talking to that one guy. Even though I had done this process, you know, we all know how interviews go. The light is on you. The spotlight is on you. You do want to say the right answers. You do want to speak correctly and enunciate and pronounce your words properly. You know, you want to put your best foot forward, and it's just nerve-wracking doing that. So, something else. What else is on here that I can share? So it says, evaluate student writing and make recommendations for improvement. So I showed you guys some examples of that. And I also, it said, compile and distribute data on lab activities. So who's actually coming to the lab? Ms. Harris, do you have job experience in compiling data? Y'all, I teach. So y'all know in the age of data-driven classrooms, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you, teaching has gone into a data-driven, like, realm where everything we do needs to be driven by data. The test I give, it needs to be driven by data. I give a test, the reason I teach what I teach on Tuesday needs to be driven by some kind of data. So I have experience in compiling data and presenting that information. And luckily for me, I had just taken a reading endorsement class that made me go in and compile data. A lot of the data I compile on my job, nobody really asks me for it most of the time. We do have to keep a pre-test, post-test spreadsheet that I could have put in here, but it just had too much personal information and too many names. This was way more generic. So I was able to show him this. Yes, I know how to compile data, and yes, I know how to present this data to other people, because I'm assuming I'm going to have to do that. If I'm the supervisor over the lab, I need to know who's coming into the lab, and I'm going to be the one who has to present the data. So I was able to show evidence of that as well. So here that is. So just a few other things I put in here. We're still talking about getting the job. What can you do on your end to get the job? Number one, again, you can make sure you qualify for the job by annotating the job description, which is what this is. Number two, you cannot be afraid. You can go in confidently through this process by just saying, hey, I have experience in this, and this is what it looks like. That's another thing. Not only do I show I have the experience, I put a name to the experience and what it actually looks like. These things up here at the top, because it asks, was I able to design corrective instructional strategies. These are my instructional strategies that I could mention, you know, should he have asked me about any of those. So this just really helped me out, guys, and it works. And I can tell you it works because I got the job. Yay. I start my new job on April 3rd. I will be the writing lab supervisor at Albany State University. Here's my job description. So it works. I can tell you it works because I used it and I did get the job. I'm trying to find this other statistic because it was really good. It talks about how many people actually, here it is, on average, every corporate opening attracts 250 resumes. Thank you, Mrs. Mills. But only 4 to 6 of these people will be called for an interview. So 4 to 6, or if you reduce that fraction, that's 2/3. And only 1 of those will be offered the job. So I was offered the job, you know, by using this particular method. So it really does work. So just flipping you through my portfolio just a little bit more, and then I'm going to be done. These are just some more samples of some of the instructional corrective strategies that I've come up with over the years, maybe in the last 4 years. I have been able to use some of them in my classroom with my students, so that's a plus. I do know that these work. Some of them are just ideas in my head that, you know, they look good on paper, but they have not been tried yet. But I believe this job is going to most definitely open up the door for me to try them. This is another method, conducting effective peer review. This is a module Y'all, this was awesome. I used this back in Chris County, so that's been about 5 years ago now. It was great. It was like a locomotion type deal. The kids had to, somebody had to answer question 1, got maybe 5 minutes, then they shifted, and then everybody had to answer question 2, question 3, so on and so forth. This was kind of the end result. As you can see, the kids actually worked. They didn't just say, yeah, it looks good. It's like, yes, it looks great, and then they were able to give comments as to how come. So you can see this one actually worked, and it had some proof to go with it. So this was one of my favorite ones that I've used. Now, this was me demonstrating my ability to write, and we're still talking about getting the job. Because one thing about a job interview, you get to make yourself shine. They've called you in for an interview for a reason. Your resume looked good. Your cover letter looked awesome. Your application looked good. Your basic self, if you will, looked good on paper. And the interview is the actual time for you to go in and say, hey, I look just as good in person as I do on paper. And so this portfolio also helped me to look just as good on paper as I did in person. And so this is just some of my writing. I don't know what date this is. I wrote this in class or after class. Let me see. It's called I'll Take That. You guys, I work in an alternative school, and you'd be surprised what they give me. I get stuff that's balled up. I get stuff that's written in marker. I get stuff that's written in highlighter. And this poem just addresses, yeah, I'll take that. Why? Because you did it. I'm glad you did something. And then at the end, it talks about me being able to address proper, writing etiquette. You don't use highlighter. You shouldn't turn in stuff that's balled up, just a building process. Go ahead and taking what they give you and working with them from that. So that's one of my favorite poems from this particular job. And I tend to write about my experiences on the job. Maybe that'll be a book. My experience in teaching through poems. Maybe. We'll see. That's a good idea. Y'all help me remember that. So the art of reading chicken scratch. Y'all know everybody can't write. Even grown people have some horrible handwriting. So this is a poem about that, the art of reading chicken scratch. Let's see, let me read y'all some of this. So it says, yeah, so I teach writing, if you can believe that. And on any given day, I step into the role of art concierge of writing. I'm on the lookout, on the artist's prowl with my red pen out, trying desperately, oh so desperately, to read what is sketching, penned, scribbled, and scrabbled. I am learning as I go about. Y'all know some of these children cannot write. I have a little boy, bless his heart, he loves to write in cursive. And it just takes me a minute to read his cursive writing. I like it because he's trying to write in cursive. But I can tell no one's, necessarily taught him how to do it properly. So it's a little hard from time to time. So this is a poem. But this is the poem. Let's see if I can get the lighting right. It's in pictures. So most definitely I want to get this stuff published soon. I'm looking at 2018, guys. So poems in pictures. Y'all see the picture? Doesn't that look good? It looks even better on the screen. You know how I did, and I started doing these in like 2005. So these are super old. They are sitting in my bedroom, and yes, I am going to publish them. Here's a tree. Here's my lady. Thanks, Miss Mills. I am actually having fun. I practiced this yesterday. Okay, just inbox me. If anybody needs my help, inbox me, message me, and I will get back with you. Hi, Mom. My mom is on, guys. Thanks, Mom. Glad you made it home. So these are just different things I was able to show him that I do. This is some writing that I've done just on my own. Nobody's making me do this writing, guys. I literally sit down. This is a movie review. When The Butler came out, I did a movie review on it when I got home, maybe within a week or so. But I saw the movie and I was like, oh, people were raving about it, and I kind of had some issues with it. So I wrote it down. So this is my self-assigned movie review. And the guy laughed at me because he's so kind of don't know what the question was. But I just told him I write for fun. And so that was so funny. Like, I assign myself essay topics and I get to write. And like currently I'm researching the educational system as a whole. I read Hidden Figures and I just saw how much pride and how much joy and how much prestige the educational system had. And you guys, it doesn't have that anymore. And so I really want to know what happened. Like, I really want to track the decline of the profession, you know, as a whole. And so, you know, I'll probably write some information on it, because if you're keeping up with the, you know, the Trump administration, the educational, you know, the Department of Education is changing some things. So that's kind of the heart of that. So that'll be coming out once I finish up with some research. So again, that's my data. These are all my YouTube videos. Again, on YouTube, I am Adrian Harris Method. No, all the A is capitalized, the H and the M. It's just Adrian Harris Method. And then this is a flyer I did for the new job. I want my sister Kim to jazz this up. She's much better at stuff like this than I am. She designed my Facebook Live posts, if you guys have seen them. So shout out to my baby sis. I know she can do, y'all, this is so like 5th grade for me. But hey, it shows that I have initiative and that I want to do some advertising for my new position. So, and then this is some actual tutoring stuff. You know, I've worked with some people, and these are different kinds of papers and clients that I've had over the last couple of years. I've worked with a nurse on her nursing notes, an actual college student on her essays, some minutes from a board meeting somebody wanted me to look over. And then this is a newsletter I designed for one of my schools I worked for in Albany. So, and then I wrote some policies and procedures. And they actually use these, some testing policies and procedures. So, I qualified for the job, guys. It's my whole point in just going through this stuff. They used this. That made me proud. They actually used it. We didn't use this one, so maybe I'll get to use it. Middle Grades Alternative School Transitional Program. It was a way to get the kids back at their home school and to help them stay at their home school through some liaison and some cooperative work with the home schools and the alternative school. Didn't get a chance to use this one, but that's okay. And then this is some stuff I just use in my classroom. So my whole point in showing you this is I got a chance to show my organizational skills, which was one of the job qualifications. It says evidence of organizational skills. Here's my evidence. And when he called my personal references, they were more evidence to me. So you may want to take that away as well. Make sure you use personal references of people who are going to be able to speak to the qualifications that the job is asking for. So they were able to speak to some of the things here on the job qualification sheet. So that's all I have tonight, guys. Takeaway 1, make sure you know that you qualify for the position. Takeaway 2, don't be afraid. This is going to help you build your confidence in going into a job interview. And then takeaway number 3, be honest. Make sure you are honest, because you don't want to get a job based off of false pretenses and false statements. You know, saying you do this and you're able to do this, and then you don't know how to do it, because then you got to harass your friends and whoever else does know how to do it in order to get your job done, and you're the one collecting the paycheck. And we just don't want to be those kinds of people. So this is going to help you see if you really qualify. And that way, you won't waste your time if you don't really qualify. Don't forget, only 38% of applicants are actually qualified for the jobs they apply to. 4 in 6 people are actually called into an interview. And, of course, only one of those is going to be offered the job. So those are just some facts and statistics for you. And just my last statistics for you, 38% of the candidates who actually go into an interview, they are eliminated for quality of voice and overall confidence. They don't look confident about their abilities when they actually go into the interview. So this is going to absolutely help you. And yes, guys, just a note, you can do this electronically. I know you can. Again, I didn't have time. I did it the night before, but it still worked in my favor. All right. So please like this video. Follow my page if you aren't already following my page. Mrs. Mills, I'm going to get you a copy of this. It will be coming to you tonight. And also, what else was I going to say? Share This is Facebook Live, so we can go back and share this video and people can watch it at their own convenience. And also, I added the review tab on my Right On Consulting Agency page. So if you guys could go and review it at some point, that would be awesome. I am trying to generate some engagement on my page. People are seeing, you know, they're seeing my information, they're liking. So now they'll be able to share. And so also, if we can get some engagement in terms of people commenting, that's kind of my next goal, to get people actually engaged and commenting on what I'm posting. If you have a topic you would like for me to discuss, please let me know. I'm going to continue with this particular series on getting the job next Wednesday at the same time, 8:45. We will be doing a video on the letter of resignation. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about how does writing play into you being on the job and you actually being a team player. So that'll be the next 2 weeks of videos. But I do want to hear from you guys in terms of what topics you all would like to see. And I can go ahead and start preparing for those videos, because I'm pretty much prepared for the next 2 weeks. And so that'll give me a chance to go ahead and kind of stay ahead of myself, you know, because life does get busy. I am about to start the new job. I'm going to start meeting weekly with our investment club. So, you know, those are things I'm going to have to keep up with as well. And I just want to be sure that I give you guys as much diligence and time, you know, here on Facebook as I do everything else. So here's this. Thank you guys so much. Please tell somebody else about Right On Consulting Agency. These are Adrienne Harris method strategies you can use. Good night. Have a good one, guys.